Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live telecast of the ANZCAR Thursday Night Thunder, coming to you live from Phoenix International Raceway for round 11, and it's a penultimate round, and your commentary team tonight is myself, Bernie Wieners, and I'm joined in the booth by Danny Trim. So welcome Danny, another exciting night of ANZCAR racing here on Thursday night.
It is, mate. I was getting pretty amped when we were doing our pre-broadcast interviews with each other, running through how we're going to go. I was getting pretty amped then.
Oh, awesome. Well, I tell you what, there's going to be a lot of amped drivers out here tonight, folks, because we have a bumper field of 39 trucks out here on the circuit at the moment. They're starting to qualify, and I tell you what, Danny, if practice is anything to go by, tonight is going to be absolutely action-packed.
It is. The track has been very busy all night in practice, with guys testing the limits of the grip levels available to them with the little banking.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because they're going from a high-banked track last week to Phoenix, and from what I've been seeing, turn 1 is very tight, 11 degrees banking for turn 1 and 2, turn 3 and 4 is only 9 degrees, so the guys are going to be having to get used to how these cars are going to turn in and how that back's going to feel compared to what it was like with that high banking.
I can see very busy pit crews tonight, whole race.
Oh, definitely, and the guys are out there qualifying at the moment. We can see Stephen Sandman Clark out there at the moment. He's in provisional position 1, and his fastest time a 28.049, but now Jason Martin has just pipped him with a 27.987. And of course, folks, we're into qualifying at the moment, and we'll unpack that as it goes on. Now, we were talking off air, Danny, about the points, and we'll bring that up now because it's getting mighty interesting, isn't it? As far as the winner of this series goes, we've only got tonight and next week at Homestead, Miami, but Jake Blackhall looks like he's pretty much in control of this championship. But the interesting thing, though, is probably Dave Douglas. He's right on the bubble as far as a podium finish, because if we have a look, the guys below him are all snapping at his heels, aren't they? And the guys playing for that third position's Roger Clark, Daniel Stevens, James Foster, Darren O'Brien, Thomas Hines, Danny G and Norman Clark. They're all in it for that third position.
They are. There's going to be a few elbows out, I think, yet they're going to want to get out in front and try and make sure they avoid any of the trouble. Keep the point lead that they have.
Yeah, and of course, there's a little bit of controversy in the season, I guess, and that was going back to Moport, where some of the guys could not get into the servers. One of those was Jason Martin, and he's in second, and he's probably wondering how things would have turned out if he had have actually been able to run that. But I guess, we live and learn. It's the start of a new series here, and the race organisers have learnt from that experience, and we'll move on.
Exactly, and even sometimes like tonight, beyond their control, the Australian servers were playing up a little bit. So iRacing fortunately gives us the ability to host on many different servers, so the guys are on a US server tonight.
Yeah, that's right. There was a lot of trouble beforehand for the organisers to adjust to that and make it work, and I tell you what, they should be awarded a medal, because they were trying for quite a long time, trying different things, trying to get the servers to work for them, and finally having to switch to that US server.
Yeah, they were quite good. No giving up the towel from them. They kept at it, kept everyone, all the competitors, very well informed of what was going on, so people weren't really left wondering, oh, is the race happening, So they did an excellent job tonight then.
Yeah, they certainly did, and At the moment we've got quali, so let's have a look at the race information tonight, folks. 1.63 kilometres is the track length, or just over 1 mile. It's clear out there today, scorching 38 degrees Celsius or 101 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's going to play a big part as far as tyre wear goes. Now, Danny, before the show you were saying that they could expect, about 10 laps, maybe 20, and then the tyres are going to be pretty much done.
Yeah, I can't see them lasting much longer than that. Obviously, a lot of that is going to be dependent on how the yellows play in their favour tonight as well.
Yeah, it certainly is, and let's have a look at our qualifying standings at the moment. They have 10 minutes to qualify. They get 2 flying laps. They don't have to do it all at once, and we're seeing a few guys still waiting to come out, but at the moment Jason Martin has provisional pole with a 27.987. Stephen Clark sitting in second with a 28.049. Matt Clowett, in third, 28.070, and he's just squeezed in ahead of Josh Micklemore there with a 28.090. And rounding out your top 5, Dave Douglas, 28.178. So those times, if you look from 1st to 10th, Danny, it's extremely tight and close, isn't it?
It is. The guys will be sitting back there and they'll be looking at those times thinking, God, if I'd have just done this a fraction of a second quicker, I'd be in first.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's not seconds, is it? It's hundreds of seconds, thousands of seconds. As we see now, Darren O'Brien coming through. He did a 28.728 and he only qualified in 23rd. And that's only, 4/10 of a second off 10th position.
Exactly. It's tight, and what's it going to be like at the 20 lap stage when it's tight?
Yeah, well, exactly right. And what's the go with this? Are we expecting the cars to tighten as the stint goes on?
Well, I spoke to a few of the drivers before the race, and the feedback I got was it was at that 20 mark, the car was starting to get real loose.
Okay. So that's going to be very interesting on a low banked track, that's for sure. We did see a few of the guys getting loose in practice and hitting the wall pretty hard, as well as running into each other. So that's going to be going to play a big part. We're expecting, folks, quite a few cautions here tonight. Of course, the way the race is, 75 laps of Phoenix will be the total distance of this race, and they have 1 fast repair, and the incident limits is none at all. But what we've seen here, though, is a lot of guys, if they get into trouble early, they pretty much, they're going to be struggling to get to the end tonight. They
are. Another spot on the track to watch is the kink at turn 2. There's a couple of lines through there. There's the standard tri-oval line, and then there's a bit of a cut where some of the drivers might be tempted to come down and sort of move a few cones out of the way and explore those track limits. But what that's going to do is that's going to give them a faster speed as they shoot out of that corner. They're going to end up catching cars in front, but are they going to have the tyre grip to be able to pull it off?
Yeah, well, that's going to be the big question, isn't it? Because if they don't have the tyre grip, then how is that going to play out when the rest of the field catches up with them? But qualifying is finished here, folks, so let's have a look at this grid. And Danny, it's going to take us a bit to get through here, so we're going to have to be pretty quick, and we'll tag team it, I think. So on the front row tonight, we have Jason Martin starting on the inside. He's joined by Stephen Clark starting in position 2. Second row tonight is Matthew Clowett in third. Josh Micklemore will start on the outside of him. Third row tonight, we have Dave Douglas, and he's joined on the grid by Shannon Mason starting out of 6th. Out of 7th tonight, Wayne Taylor. He's joined on the grid by Simon Joel Smith starting from 8th. Bruce Smith, he'll start from 9th, and Darren McKenzie, keep an eye on him starting out of 10th. Out of 11th tonight is Stephen Williams, and then Thomas Hinds, he's going to start out of 12th.
Then we're out of 13th, we got Joshua Carroll. 14th, James Foster. 15th, Matt Morris. 16th, Norman Clark. 17th, James Robbie. 18th, Edward Foster. 19th, Bob King. And rounding out the top 20 is Daniel Stevens.
Yeah, and Riley Curtis, he's going to start out at 21st tonight with Jamie McKnight. Great to see Jamie joining the series, starting in 22nd. Darren O'Brien, he'll start out at 23rd. Roger Clark, another driver to keep an eye on, out of 24th. Liam Tipping will start out at 25th. Gavin Sadler, 26th. Craig Lawless, he'll start out at 27th, and he's joined on the grid by Darren Lord, in 28th. George Fullerton, another new person to the series. I think he debuted last week, starting out at 29th. And Phil Otto, that rounds out your top 30.
Yeah. The only other car we've got qualified for that is Lachlan Smith in 31st position, but we've still got Jake Maloney, Scott Butler, Jake Blackall, Daniel G still in the field.
And of course, Danny Trim, you're not out there, you're in the booth, so we won't count you. But we've also got Raymond Yeager, Rodney Morris and Jason Fewens in the server, but they did not set a time, so we'll have to keep a close eye on whether they start tonight.
Yeah, so I did something a little bit sneaky tonight, and I snuck in there so I could get it straight from the drivers.
Yeah, so we're going to be action stations here pretty soon, folks, and I'll tell you what, it's going to be fast and furious at Phoenix, and the racing's going to be fantastic. We can see at the moment Jason Martin leading the field out here at Phoenix. We'll try and get a wide view so you can see how many cars we have here. 39 around this track. It's going to be mighty tight.
So the boys are all settling in now, getting ready for that green flag to drop, safety car to pull off.
Yeah, and Jason Martin will lead them away here. Safety car is in here. We're about to go racing here, folks, at Phoenix. Jason Martin goes. Sandman, he was caught by surprise a little bit there, I think, and Jason's already got a two-car gap, but further back already we have, can see Matt Cloward on the outside back there.
Yes. The field's just still settling itself out. Quite often they're 2+ wide through these corners, as you can see, Bernie.
It certainly is, and you can see they're starting to settle down now. Dave Douglas up to 5th, right behind him Josh Mickelmore, Shannon Mason. They're sorting themselves out now. They go into single file. Further back though, we've got Wayne Taylor in the 420 running very high, and I don't think he likes the setup of that car at the start.
No. Let's hope the car comes to him and he can continue on, because the last thing you want to be is lap 1. Oh, here we go. Yellow flag's out, Benny. It's happened already.
Yeah, it didn't take long, did it? And we'll go back and see if we can work out exactly where that yellow flag's come out. I can't actually see here what has caused that, but maybe have you got any feeling for what it is, or any...
I can't really see anyone's had a lot of trouble burning.
Yeah, we've got Craig Lawless here that's had to come to the pit. Scott Butler also had to also pit earlier as well, but from the start. But I can't actually see any damage out there, so I'd say it was probably a spin. Now, as far as yellows go, it's a pretty wide track, so if they spin and they're above the apron, it's pretty much going to call a caution here, isn't it?
It is, and I found it, Bernie. It looks like it's the Darren J. O'Brien currently slipped back down through the field. He's had a spin. There was a couple cars involved with that. Just behind him, I think he may have got a little bit tagged by Daniel Stevens.
I'm just going back now, and it does look like he was tagged by Daniel Stevens here. You can see him on the inside, and Daniel Stevens on the outside of him now as he comes through. Yeah, Daniel Stevens got in the back of him and just turned him. That looks like it was in turn 3, and he came back up on the track. Stevens into the wall hard, 93. That's Riley Curtis, I think, also involved in that accident.
It is. Now, stuff like that, that's going to be starting to play down on the guys who didn't qualify. You know, they've sort of probably taken the punt and gone, let me just hold back a little bit. But have they got room to get around these accidents?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? We saw this last week with some of the guys that didn't qualify that well or didn't qualify at all. They struggled all night. They just did not make way through the field. They got caught up in a lot of the back end of the field incidents or midfield incidents, and they just did not recover. So especially tonight at Phoenix, if you did not qualify here, you're really asking for trouble, I think.
You are. You're giving yourself more disadvantage than advantage by doing that.
Yeah, exactly right. And one car I can't see out there tonight is Matt Stratford. I don't think he's made the circuit tonight.
No, I'm not sure why he's not made it in, but I know he was involved in an incident last week, which caused admin of the series quite a few sleepless nights going over again and again.
Okay. Just adjusting our volumes here, folks. Of course, the NASCAR trucks, they're very loud in these sort of stadiums, so I'm just trying to balance out our audio so you can actually hear us talking as well as hearing the awesome roar of these trucks here tonight. But the safety car is in. We're going to be going racing very, very shortly. And of course, Jason Martin is going to lead them out. Stephen Clark second. Matt Cloat, out of third. Fourth on the outside, Dave Douglas. And then we've got Shannon Mason, Josh Mickelmore. Keep an eye on Josh. He's the spoiler of this series, I say, because he came in late. But I tell you what, he's made his presence felt, hasn't he?
He has. The guys are going to be watching where he finishes this race.
Yeah, they certainly are. And we're now just waiting for the safety car to come in. He is in now, and of course Jason Martin goes straight away. Stephen Clark a bit slower, but not too bad, and Matt Cloat already on the inside of Sandman having a look. Keep an eye on Dave Douglas, Josh Mickelmore, the 55, that's Shannon Mason, and Simon Joel Smith. He is in the number 55, and that's your top six. But at the moment, Matthew Cloat is starting to make his presence felt as he's on the inside of Sandman here and trying to get up to second.
Yeah, he's not holding back. He's one of those cars that you can't count him out.
Exactly right, and we're just watching him go through there, and there's a bit of push as he drifted up the track, or was that a bit of looseness going on, but he dropped about 4 car lengths there.
He did. I think it's happened, Bernie.
My goodness me, I tell you what, folks. Oh, we can see back there as well. Who was that? That was the 14 being turned under safety car conditions. That's James Foster hard into the wall. So let's jump back and have a quick look at how that unfolded, and then we'll go further back and find out exactly where the... let's go back here.
What's happened, Bernie, is I think that he's actually got into the back of Wayne Taylor. Then the cars behind have just reacted and lost it.
Yeah, we can see him in the back of Wayne Taylor there. The 420 goes around. At the same time, Mackenzie got into the 36 and started turning him around. As we can see now, James Foster turned up into the wall heavily, and that's going to be his fast repair done. And I'll tell you what, he's an exciting driver, young James, but trouble seems to follow him a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's not started out good. We're on lap 10 of a long race.
It looks like Daniel Stevens also got into him as well as he rejoined that track, so that's another one. I think Daniel Stevens is also in trouble out there. The drivers that are in trouble, from what we've seen so far, folks, we'll go through this list because it's going to get bigger. So Riley Curtis in the 93 is in the pits getting that car repaired, and they're going to be there for some time. Jason Fewens also out of fast repairs and in trouble already, and we're only on lap 10. Other cars in trouble, Danny G in the lucky number 13, also having a rough trot out there. Lachlan Smith in the 911, he may need to call that the way he's going tonight. He's also had to use that fast repair and take a lot of service time. The other guys that have come through so far, Daniel Stevens, his truck's very bent up, and he's been in a couple of incidents already. Darren O'Brien has also made his way to the pits. Rodney Morris, Jake Maloney, as we can see, he's coming back in the pits now to take service as well. Bruce Smith's another one. Matt Morris, Lachlan Smith, and James Foster, the latest, who's in quite a bit of strife out there tonight.
It is. They've got to start giving a little bit more room, Bernie. They've got to stop pushing as much. There seems to be a lot of contact from rear contact, you know?
Yeah, they're just going to have to be patient, and I think because this track it's so wide but with low banking and it's hot, the guys I think they can get it down on the inside there, and there's just no grip, and they've just got to be a bit more patient in how they make these moves. But then again, I've not raced NASCAR trucks for quite a long time, so what would I know?
Well, look, the fortunate thing from being here in the comms block, Bernie, is we get to actually see it and analyse it as and after it's happened. So it's a lot easier for us to work out what's gone on than sometimes the driver himself that's involved in it.
Yeah, that's right. We see the big picture, and I always say to the drivers and that in commentary we see the wider view, where if you're racing you see a blinkered view, which is your view only, and you only see your version of the story. But at the moment, Jason Martin has led all 11 laps or 12 laps of this race now. He'll lead them away once more here at Phoenix. But I tell you what, the way we're going, 12 laps down of 75, we're up to our third caution, I think it is. We should get a pen out and mark them off, because I think we're going to have quite a few.
I think it's going to have to be a brand new pen.
Yeah, well, I don't have a pen here, so have you got a pen you can mark them off for us?
I have, Bernie. I've marking them down. They're off.
They certainly are, and as always, Jason Martin, a great start there, leads them off. Matthew Clowett already looking on the inside. That's not working. Stephen Clark taking the higher line. Right behind them we've got Micklemore, then Douglas also running a higher line now to see if we can make that work, as we see this massive field come through turn 4 on lap 13.
Yes. Now I'm just looking at the way they're going around, Bernie, with who took a pit stop then that maybe didn't need some repair, just to make sure that tank's full, those tyres are up to scratch.
Yeah, we can see, I'm just trying to get a better view of the drivers here. It was interesting to see the different lines. Darren McKenzie was running a higher line than a lot of the other cars, and you can see him just starting to try to explore. Right behind him is the 91, but up in the top here we've got Matthew Clowett now under pressure from Josh Micklemore. Josh is just getting on the inside there, doesn't have enough of an overlap, but it's starting to look dangerous, and there we go, yellow once again, folks. I tell you what, I reckon we should start a sweepstake on how many yellows we're going to cop tonight.
Yeah, look, that's Rodney Morris has put his hand up to that one. He seems to have got into the back of car 1, Phil Otto.
So we'll jump back and have a look at this, and keep an eye on the 141, folks. We'll go back further because of course we're already under safety car conditions, or pace car conditions, sorry. So the 141 just on the inside of Otto there, yeah, he's just got in, turned the number 1 around, and the number 1 heavily into the wall on the inside, because of course there's absolutely no runoff here at all.
Exactly. But now this is going to play out, because those guys that have gone a lap down, they've got the opportunity to get that lap back. Then the guys at the front, like Jason, he's going to be thinking, okay, this is how the race is going to play out. All I've got to do is make sure I keep nailing those restarts. If I get that jump, I can't get attacked, I've got this one. I'm thinking he'll be thinking that already.
Oh, exactly right. I'm sure he'd be looking at that. And Liam Tipping, we've got him on the screen, folks, because he's the first one that'll get a lucky dog here. Roger Clark already 2 laps down. He should also get a wave by, as well as Jason Fewens 2 laps down. We've got Riley Curtis all the way down here in the 93. He's coming in for service, and it looks like his race is run. But as far as pit strategy goes, I know I'm doing a lot of talking here, but it looks like the top 18, 19 guys did not stop. And I tell you what, in a field this size, at a track like this, you wouldn't want to stop, would you? Because you don't want to sacrifice that position unless you absolutely have to.
Exactly that. Now, as we said before, they're only on lap 7. These tyres, under pushing conditions, are going to go for about 20 laps. So they're not going to really be kneeling it just yet. If they've not tried to push so hard out of the box, they're going to be sitting fine.
And having a look at some of the movers already, keep an eye on Thomas Hinds. He's up 6 positions from where he started in 12th, and he's right up with Dave Douglas now, so he's definitely a mover this early in the race. And I'll tell you what, I'll take my hat off to him, because we haven't had that much green light racing, and he's already moved up 6 positions.
It has. Look, he's doing the Wax It PFR car proud tonight. Those guys, they've hooked up in sync together.
Yeah, they certainly have, and of course Waxit's a new sponsor of PFR. I'm not sure if it's still running, folks, but they were doing a competition to celebrate the new partnership over on Facebook at Pro Force Racing. Go and check it out, and if it's still going, I should have done my homework, you can win $200 of Waxit e-vouchers.
That's it. And not only is that a great competition to win, it's a great product to actually be able to use.
Yeah, exactly right. I'm assuming we've all got cars. You never know. We may not. But it's still, even if you don't, it's a great product to give out as a Christmas present.
It is. And look, even if you don't really worry about it on your car, there's other products around your home. You know, your kid's got a bike, you've got a bike, make that thing look new again.
Exactly right. And we're about to go racing here. It's going to be interesting to see how Jason goes here, and if Sandman can actually go with him at the start, because so far Jason's just bolted, hasn't he? And he's going as soon as it goes green, or just before, he's flooring it.
Yeah, they seem to be doing a few pace laps this time, Bernie.
Yeah, they certainly are. A few more than what we're used to. How many have they done now? About 5. This pace car light is still on, so maybe the administration is just having a word with the guys to get them to calm down a bit.
Yeah, and look, I'm looking now. These guys, they're going to use their fast repairs really early. Are they going to try and put up with the damage that they've got and stay out? That's one to see.
Yeah, well, at a track like this, it's such a short track. I think if you don't have a good car and you can't do it safely, or you're going to get into trouble or in people's way, it might be best just to park that car and walk away. But we're coming under racing conditions very shortly. The pace car lights are out, and Jason Martin will lead them away once again. Keep an eye on Stephen Clark on the outside. Matthew Clowett starting on the second row in third. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to try and get under Sandman here at the start. And of course on the outside of him is Josh Mickelmore. Third row we have Dave Douglas, and then Thomas Hinds on the outside of him.
And the safety car's off.
And as we expected, Jason Martin has gone, and he's got the 2 car lengths. Bit of a better start there for Sandman. He's got the inside, but check out Mickelmore. He just went on the outside of Clowett and took that position.
He did. He was hungry. He wanted that back.
And I tell you what, that is evidence that that high line is coming in. We can see further back as well. Just trying to get a number. I think that was the 48, also making positions on the outside.
There's Simon Smith there.
So it'll be interesting to see if the guys we're under caution again. So be interesting to see if we actually get much green light running here if the guys start using that high line, because it looks like that's working really well.
It is.
Okay, so once again we go searching for the culprit here. This
okay.
Yes, I was going to say, this is a tough thing about this style of racing, because if you're wondering how we find the incidents, folks, either Danny Trim can hear it on the radio, or basically I've got to go hunting for off-track events. And of course, in NASCAR you don't get an off-track event, which means I'm blind as far as finding where the incident has occurred.
Yeah, it looks like that Bob King's been involved there in that one with Darren McKenzie.
Yeah, so we'll jump back and have a look at this.
Look, the people aren't happy, Jamie. They're starting to get fed up with these yellows, I think. I can see the drivers talking back and forth now.
Yeah, they will, and as soon as they get frustrated with each other, it's going to potentially make it worse. Let's have a look at this replay here with Bob King. Actually, it was a 75. Darren McKenzie turned the 51. That's where it all started here. It's actually Bob King being turned by Darren McKenzie. Bob then coming down the track, and oh my goodness, it started a ricochet. We had the 91 into the 30 into the 98, and it just continued. But that was actually the 75 that started that one.
Yes. So
yeah, that was James Robbie in the 30 was also turned. I did see also Darren Lord in the 015 in the subway entry. He got turned as well. So, you know, we've seen it before. Once an incident happens up front, it's just get this chain reaction.
You do, and there's not a lot of room to avoid cars spinning and moving in front of you, so the chances are you may even be an innocent party and just get collected up in an unavoidable contact.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what we saw. We saw Bob being turned, and then another car reacting, going to the high side, got into the next car, which turned them, which then turned to the next one, and so on and so forth through the field until they sorted it out. Another car to keep an eye on tonight, Jamie McKnight. He's up 7 positions and in the 31 here, and sitting in 15th, so he's also started to make his moves through the field.
He has. He's look, Jamie's pretty new to the trucks, I believe, but like everything when he drives, he knows that sometimes you don't have to be the fastest to win that championship. You can be Mr. Consistent, do really good lap times time and time again, and you're going to finish right up there.
Oh yeah, for sure, and 50 laps to go here. The other one, Jake Blackhall. Now Jamie should tuck in behind Jake here. Jake Blackhall in 14th, up 20 positions, and we know he's a specialist when it comes to carving his way through the field, and he's once again doing that tonight.
It does. It's he doesn't do too well in the qualies, but come race time, he just pops up out of nowhere.
Exactly right, and we generally see that, don't we? As you said, he doesn't qualify very well, but as far as finishing, he finishes extremely well, and he definitely earns those finishing positions. On the other hand, Jason Martin, he qualifies very well. He's strong earlier in the race, but he does tend to fade a little bit towards the end of the race.
Exactly. Now, oh, here they go, Benny, they're off.
Yeah, they're off once again for another 2-lap sprint here at Phoenix. Sorry, folks, I'm sounding a bit jaded, but that's just my sense of humour. Stephen Clark, Josh Micklemore side by side there with Matthew Clough on the outside. He has to settle for 4th at the moment. Dave Douglas has just got past Thomas Hinds in the number 10 on the outside, and then Thomas is on the inside of Dave Douglas. and then right behind them we've got Shannon Mason in the 55.
It has. And even though we've had so many cautions, what's good to see is he's still got a full field.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? We've got a full field at the moment, but how long it takes until that really bites is another question. 48 laps here. We're riding with Shannon Mason, 6th position at the moment. Just have a look at the wheel work and how busy these guys are around the circuit.
It is. He looks like a man on the move.
Yeah, he's gone really high there. He's actually dropped it down to 3rd gear there. Very unusual. He's felt like he was losing momentum. Dave Douglas got past him on the inside.
Does. Dave knows how to steer a car. So does Shannon. This is going to be a battle.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we'll stick with him a bit here, just so that viewers can get a bit of a feel for what it is like driving a NASCAR, or a truck I should say, around Phoenix, and just have a look at how low they go in knocking over all those witches' hats, and of course then the little magic gnomes comes out and resets them again.
Oh no. Bernie.
Don't say it.
You know it, mate.
I've got that sinking feeling.
But what happens is I can see the car just hit the wall and spin by itself. That's Simon Smith.
Okay. So
he's in car 48.
48, yeah. He was having a good run earlier on tonight as well, but he's finding himself right down the end of the field at the moment.
He will be, but do you know what this makes me think of?
What's that?
The smile Jason's going to start grinning with. Oh, he's in. No, he's faked, Bernie. He's faked into the pit.
We'll have a look at that in a minute. We're just having a look at the super slow-mo. And he actually got into the wall on the outside. That's Jason Joel Smith, but heavily into the wall on the inside and up on 2 wheels. So he's going to have turning issues after that cloud of the wall.
He is.
So,
sorry, I thought Jason was throwing a ploy there, and I was worried that people were actually thinking he was going to pit.
I could hear it, and I'm thinking the commentator's fallen for the fakie, but the guys that have not stopped still, and of course, you know, if you're up the pointy end, why would you if you are going to be expecting a lot of pace cars? But Jason Martin, Stephen Clark, Josh Mickelmore, Matthew Clowett, Thomas Hinds, Dave Douglas, Shannon Mason in 7th, Darren McKenzie, goes all the way down to 12th, which is Gavin Sadler, who have all not pitted at the moment. Darren O'Brien has had 2 pit stops, and he finds himself sitting in 13th at the moment.
Yeah, see, the track's not letting the cars go down. We've got a soldier out there, Riley Curtis. The guy's 16 laps down in the 93. He's soldiering on. He's keeping at it.
Yeah, and he's spending a lot of time coming back into the pits, isn't he? He's just coming in now to let his pit crew go at that car once again. And that's the thing we'll see a bit, isn't it? Once your fast repairs are done, we'll probably see a lot of these guys gradually coming back into the pits under cautions, just to get the cars tweaked if they can.
Exactly. And look, when these guys start the race, they get this fast repaired. The pit crew has the ability to make that car look brand new again. But unfortunately, they only have the ability and the time to be able to do one fast repair. If the drivers get damaged after that, a way to try and ease the pain is when it throws a yellow, get in, get a little bit of repair done, get back out. Wait for that next yellow. Get in, repeat the process, try and get that car handling as good as you can without losing laps after laps.
And you can see, looking at the retirements so far as the pace car lights go out, Raymond Jaeger did not make the start. Jake Maloney looks like he's parked the car for the night, as had Danny G in the 13.
Yeah, a few guys' cars are probably just unrepairable, Bernie, and they've had no choice.
Yeah, well, exactly right. And as we said, once that magic wand of the fast repair disappears, you're pretty much in the town of pain, we'll call it. But here we go once again, folks. 42 laps remaining here. Jason Martin will lead Stephen Clark off for the start. That's your first row. Second row, Micklemore and Clough. These two have been battling all night, so we'll see if Matthew Clough can make that high line work. But here we go. We're under green, and Jason Martin once again goes. So we can see there Matthew Clough trying to make that high line work. Josh Micklemore has him on the inside. Thomas Hims also on the inside of Dave Douglas there as they just start getting up to speed.
Yeah, they're certainly being a little bit weary, I think, at the front there.
Yeah, as you would be, because it's just a bit of a lottery ticket. There we go. We got one lap in that time. How many pace cars are we up to now? Are you marking them off?
I think that's around about our 7th.
7th, okay. Because I can't mark them off, so that's your job. So that's going to be a massive job because we only get probably 2 laps of racing in here, and then we're under caution once again. And the guys are absolutely going to be fuming in those cars at the moment, not only from the heat, but they're just not getting enough time to get a rhythm going here tonight. And when that happens, it's no fun for anyone, really, is it?
It's not. These guys, they come here to race. They don't come here to just dribble around under race car.
Yeah. So, did we find out where that incident came from?
I'm trying to find it. I can't see it.
We're going deep in the field here, folks, just to see if we can find exactly what's unfolded here. If we follow the last car, we should see some sort of action going on. So far, I can't see any reason.
I've got it, Bernie.
Oh yeah, up ahead. Who was the person this time?
I'm looking at Rodney Morris. Am I? I'm looking at Scott Butler.
Okay, yeah, we've got it here. We'll go back and have a look at this and try to unpack exactly what's going on here.
It looks like he's got into the side of car 36, Rodney Morris.
It's turned the 36 around, and then the West End Mazda entry there, the 94, also going around, and he's caught up with Norman Clark, which the number 7 up into the wall as well. As we see as it unpacks, nowhere to go here, and that's caused a few guys to have problems. Scott Butler, I think he was the innocent party in all this. What was your take on all that?
Look, what we've got to allow for tonight is the drivers are racing hard. Maybe they haven't got in the back of their heads that they're on that US server, Bernie. You've got to give that little bit more room. Sometimes stuff can happen that they actually can't see it happening themselves. But iRacing says, no, this is your trajectory. With the lag involved, this is what was going to happen, and it's ultimately what does.
Yeah, exactly right. And you can see Jason now coming in, doing the big fakie. No one's going to fall for that, and he goes back out. But exactly right. We saw there Norman Clark getting turned around, and there was a good foot distance between him and the other car, but that net code was enough to turn him.
Exactly. And again, the guys that are seeing this happen around them, they've probably forgot about this net code, and they're thinking maybe these guys don't know what they're doing behind me. This net code can be a bigger result on this race than what we thought.
definitely. And if we look at the points championship of the guys that are racing, we'll bring this up and we'll try and get a bit of an update on where these drivers are sitting in the field at the moment. And let's bring this up. One moment, folks.
Well, look, I know Jake Blackall, he is still a man on the move. Currently in 10th place, up from 34th, without a quali time.
Yep, so he's leading at the moment in the championship. Jason Martin's leading this race, second in the championship. When we spoke to him last week, he had almost given up any hope of taking his championship out. Dave Douglas, Dave at the moment sitting in 5th position in 3rd. Roger Clark, he's one of the losers tonight. He's all the way down in 30th. Daniel Stevens also in trouble, and we're back racing.
And Jason's done his move that paid off for him all night, and the minute that car's gone and the green's out, he's gone, and he's got a bit of a gap on Sandman again.
Yeah, that's all he's got to do, because by now the rhythm of this race is they're not going to get a lot of green light running in. You can see further back here, Darren McKenzie in the 75, he's battling it out with Shannon Mason on the inside, and you can just see here how well that high line's working, and he's just holding his own there, even though he's way up high on the track. Drifts up now, we lose a few positions. As I say that, in the 420 now is on the inside. That's Wayne Taylor starting to make a move.
It is. Look, Wayne was pretty good in qualifying, so, you know, he's managed to maintain, even though we saw him have that contact from the behind earlier, he's pretty much maintained his position.
We'll jump on board here with Jake Blackall as he puts it down the inside there. And I'll tell you what, he is not holding back here, is he? He knows he's got to move, and he makes a position up in the 420. Jake Blackall now up to 9th.
Yeah, I noticed Wayne knew he was going to get taken then, so he sort of let Jake go and concentrated on getting straight back in behind him and not leaving himself vulnerable for more attacks from Darren.
And Stephen Williams now, he's coming under attack from James Foster. James had to get that car repaired earlier, so he's out of fast repairs. Currently he's battled back to 15th. In the number 14, we've got another car hard into the wall behind us.
Yeah, I'm looking at car 51.
Yeah, we'll go back and have a look at that. There was a big incident there, and the 51 is tracking all right, but...
Yeah, 51 and 32, Matt Morris.
Yeah, so Morris, the 32 down on the inside there of the 51. I saw Edward Foster in the RRTV truck just wobble a bit in the 53, but I'm not sure if that had anything to do with it. The 32 just coming up on the 51, and I have a feeling, we'll see if it's going to be a netcode issue. Oh no, the 51 turned down into the 32, hard into the wall, both cars here, and fortunately it looks like they stayed off the racing line.
Yeah, that could have ended up a lot nastier. Yeah,
so I was just watching the replay there. A car was going up high, and the 51 just got out of his way in time because he was about to get whacked in the side.
Exactly. Now, what I'm curious to know is, has Sandman saved a bit of fuel by being behind Jason all night? Is he going to, when they do stop, is he going to get that jump?
Yeah, well, that's going to be critical, isn't it? Because the way this race is shaping out, if you can get into the lead of this race, that's all you really have to do. And you're right. I reckon if Sandman can jump him in the pits, it's going to be a stellar move, as we see now. The 36 getting a wave around, and that was I had Riley Curtis here. No, that's not him.
Bruce
sorry.
Smith. Bruce Smith has had the wave around, so he's just caught back onto the lead lap.
Yeah, and the other, there's only two cars out there that aren't on the lead lap. Jason Fewens, he's down 2 laps. Daniel Stevens now down 3 and check out the look of that truck. We normally comment how beautiful they turned out, but that truck has seen better days.
It has. But one thing he's got going for him here is the pack isn't being able to stretch its legs. He's not really dropping right off them all. Because of the use of the yellows, it's allowing him to stay up there with them. So that damage isn't going to affect the actual speed of the car. It's just going to feel a little bit ordinary when he's trying to turn it in.
Yeah, that's right. And because we're under yellow, it'd be interesting to see the statistics of this race at the end. Because 29 laps to go, we from last count probably about 8 cautions, maybe 9, and no doubt we'll have a few more before the end. But it'd be interesting to see how many laps under green we end up running and how many under yellow we end up running. I wouldn't be surprised if it's about a 50-50 split.
It's certainly looking like that way.
So let's go through. The pace car lights are out, so let's take you through, folks, the starting lineup here. So we've got Jason Martin. He will start from pole. Stephen Sandman Clark will start next to him in first row. Keep an eye on Mickelmore and Cloet in the second row. And then we have Douglas and Hinz starting out of the third row tonight. We might jump in with Darren McKenzie at the start of this race, just so we can see how busy these guys are. He's starting out of 8th, so 4th row here. And you can just hear him revving the motor on and off the throttle, waiting to go here.
These guys still know those laps are counting down.
Yeah, he's in first and we're waiting now. He can actually see when that pace car comes in. The next restart, I'm going to jump us all the way back to the back of the field so you can get a feel. Here we go, racing once again at Phoenix. You can just see here Shannon Mason here. He's just basically, he's in a good position. He can see the leader, so that's one thing, but you can just see on the start, all he could see was the Waxit truck in front of him.
Yeah. These guys are going to be so busy. They're going to be looking forward. They're going to be looking back. They're going to make sure that they don't get given the jump on.
Yeah, so you can see Mason there on the inside of the 75, but up front, as always, Jason Martin has got the lead. Stephen Sandman Clark is now coming under pressure from Josh Mickelmore, but Josh is going to have to work out where he's going to have to make this move, and in the back of his mind he's probably wondering how long he's got to do it before another caution comes out.
Exactly. And look, I'm still seeing 3 wide throughout the field, Bernie. These guys aren't just out there to putt around, they're racing hard.
Yeah, exactly right. The deeper you go in the field, the harder they're racing. We're jumping all the way back here to 17th. That's George Fullerton at the moment. Let's run a better picture there. He's in the 500, but right behind him, the 78, Liam Tippin, Jamie McKnight. They're going at it. Jamie up high there at 31. We've got another car around.
Jamie's just lost it, Bernie.
No, that wasn't Jamie that lost it there. That was another WP concreting entry. Just trying to get the number. I did see him going around into the wall.
Scott Butler. Car 94, Scott Butler. He spun all on his own.
Yeah, just having a look at this replay, as you're saying, he was on the inside there of the 30, and yeah, you know what unsettled him? He came down onto the apron there as he cut the circuit, and as you're saying off air, once he did that, he unsettled that car going from the bank to the flat, and he couldn't gather it up again.
It is, especially not these guys, these tyres, even though a lot of it's been caution, 52 laps. Now, if we half that and say that it's been half race conditions, they're at 25 race laps on those tyres plus.
Yeah, so they're going to have to come in soon, but what do you do if you're Jason? Do you think, well, if I stay out, they'll stay out, their tyres are just as bad as mine, and they have to get past me, and they're not going to get an opportunity? Is that what you'd be thinking, Danny?
I'd be looking at my fuel gauge, and that's going to be my deciding factor.
Yep.
if I've got the fuel to get home, I'm going to take that risk. Sandman is going to have to follow suit.
Yeah, that's right. And the thing that's going to be difficult for the pit managers here is working out the fuel burn, because they're having so many times under yellow flag that they're saving fuel, and then they're going to have to do a gamble and say, well, based on the 50 laps we've done of racing here, we've had 10 cautions, are we going to get another 5? How's that going to make the fuel burn look?
Exactly. These guys are going to be getting pretty frustrated. This is, even though we've seen yellows all night, we're starting to get into a dangerous part of the race. They're tired, they're frustrated, they're worried that do they have the fuel to get home? Am I going to have to pit? You know, they're going to start making more mistakes, I can see.
Yeah, well, that's right, and strategy's a big thing in here as well. But if we look at the moment, Jake Blackhall, he's actually doing a remarkable job. If you think how many yellows we've had here tonight, folks, he is up 26 positions up to 8th, and he's done that the hard way, not under, jumping him in the pits. He's had to grind his way through this field and stay out of trouble, and he's done a fantastic job at doing that tonight.
It is. What I'd like to do, Bernie, is when we go green, I want to see how he goes green against Shannon Mason.
Okay, so
is he going to get the jump, and that's what he's doing? Is he picking a car off one car at a time every time the yellow the restart? He's just doing that. Is that how he's leapfrogging, or is he going for as many cars as possible in between those safety car periods?
All right. Well, what we're going to do, folks, when we are going green, which will be very shortly, we will jump on board with Jake. And Danny, you might be able to let the viewers know what you see, because you're quite an experienced NASCAR driver.
I wouldn't go that far. I do enjoy it, but I'm not married to my cousin style NASCAR.
Yeah, fair enough. On board here with Jake Blackhall, the pace car lights are out, and you can just hear him starting to rev here, bring up the telemetry, starting out of first gear, and you tell us what you see here, Danny.
Okay, well they're gone, and he's tried to get the jump straight away. Now he's at a bit of a disadvantage because he is on the outside. He would much prefer to have had the inside. But look, he's pushing. He's not settled back. Oh, there's a gap there opening. Oh, I thought he was going to go for that gap then, but he backed out last minute.
Yeah, you could see he was thinking about it though, weren't you?
This is what he's doing. The one car at a time pick off, but he's being smart about it. He's not just going, there's a hole, stick it in there. You can see he's calculating every move he's making.
Yeah, he's not doing any slide jobs there, and you can see also he had the 55 on the inside of him there, and he was being very patient, waiting for the spotter to say it was clear before he came down.
Oh, I see him yellow.
Yep. Yeah, I can see the 7 and the 141, the 98 also involved in that incident by the looks of it. And we're going to jump back and see if we can have a look at this this incident. That's Rodney Morris again by the looks of it. Just having a look further back, and that actually started the 32 on the inside of the 7 there. Just gave him a bit of a touch. He went in deep, just touched the 7 a bit, then the 7 up into the 141, around goes the 7. The poor 444 had absolutely nowhere to go, and straight into the side of him. But I tell you what, Norman Clark hard into the wall on the outside. Then it continues down. The 98 gets turned by the 36, and Phil Otto, he just caught the rear end of that.
He's had a few tonight, hasn't he?
He does, and I sigh because I feel sorry for him. You know, he's having a rough run out there up the back, isn't he?
He is.
So the question is, 17 laps remaining here. Pace car lights are on. We're, 11 from memory yellows so far?
Yes, 11 or 12.
So then if we work out, they're doing how many? Probably about 4 laps under yellow?
It is. And we're just about to clock up lap 60 now.
Yep.
So we've only looking about 15 maximum laps left.
Yeah,
Every 4 being a yellow, it's not looking good, is it? I think we're going to finish under yellow.
yeah, I think so. It'll be the first time in the season, but what I was getting to here was we have just under 60 laps run of the 75 lap races. We've had 11 or 12 yellows, each time 4 laps. That's about 48 laps under yellow, which means they've really only had, since the start of this race, about 12 laps under green. Would that sound right? That sounds pretty harsh, doesn't it?
It does. That's, yeah, the guys aren't happy, but they're acknowledging that, you know, half of these incidents are from that net code. But same thing, they all know it's going to happen. Why aren't they giving more room?
Yeah, that's right. And the other thing is, it's bound to happen at a shorter track like Phoenix, but we've also got 39 trucks out here running tonight, a bumper field, and hot day, and all that well, it is all playing a part in it. Not that I'm trying to make excuses for these blokes. They're all out there trying to win, and they're doing the very best they can. It would be very tricky out there tonight.
Exactly. Now, again, we look at the back of that. Who's made a move in the field? I see Jake Blackwell now in 7th place.
Yep. Yeah.
So if we got a couple more yellows and that's how he's doing it, he's actually going to be finishing quite closer to Jason Martin than what I reckon Jason Martin would have thought some 10, 20 laps ago.
And we're going to jump in this time. Let's jump in with Phil Otto and see what he sees when we go under yellow here. Under green, sorry, I'm getting confused. But we're on board with him now. He's starting right out of 28th position on the inside. Stephen Williams, 98. Rodney Morris behind him. And you can see, he can just see the pace car up there in the corner.
It is. Now, if he's got, you know, friends, he's speaking to them in a radio channel, and they're further up the field, they're going to give him the call. But if not, he's on his own.
Yeah, that's right. This is when you'd want a spotter, isn't it? You could see him there. He put the foot down to go. He balked, and the 55, I think it was, went straight past him. But he's also caught right up on the high line here and working hard.
Yeah, look, I think he's going to lose a couple positions here, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, we just saw the Clark car go through. I think that's Norman going through here, and Norman's another seasoned NASCAR driver.
He is, and look, Norman's been involved in a couple of these accidents before, but his car looks pretty straight, so I think once he's had that one, he's looked after it, and he's slowly trying to pick his way back up.
Yeah, and he's down a lap at the moment, and working hard. He's just had not a very good run tonight, as all these guys up the back haven't. But meanwhile, up front here, folks, Jason Martin, he's got about a 2-car lead over Stephen Clark. Then Josh Mickelmore third, Matthew Clark starting to drop off. The tyres will start to be hurting. And we're under, the 51 went around that time. We just got the end of it.
Look, that's car 32. That wasn't his fault, Bernie. That was all net code.
Here we'll go to the slow-mo and have a look at this. We've got Bob King in the 51. We saw him in live pictures going around. And so
car 32, Matt Morris.
Yep. That's a better view. Yeah, the 32 on the inside there. Maybe we'll go off super slow-mo, because let's go to half speed.
Yeah, you can't blame Matt Morris for that one at all. There was plenty of room there, Bernie. I think that was it was a racing incident.
Yeah, we can see him going down the inside there, and we've got a super wide view here. And he had a good overlap, didn't he? But I tell you what, there was probably a good foot between those guys. We didn't have a very good view of it, though. Let's jump back and have another quick look here, folks. Sorry about this. I just want to try to see how close he got when they spun here. Yeah, that view shows it very clearly, and you're dead right there. There was a good foot clearance before Bob King went around there. So good pick up there, Danny.
Yeah, look, that was just unfortunate.
So to everyone out there enjoying our coverage, I hope you are enjoying our coverage of the ANZCAR Thursday Night Thunder. For those that have just joined us, I think we're up to our 13th caution here tonight. We've had more caution laps than we have had green racing, but it's going to get interesting because all the front runners have not stopped. 10 laps to go. I think they're going to be gambling here, Danny, on getting home with the fuel they've got.
They are. Jason's going to be sweating.
Yeah, well, he's going to be the one that's used the most fuel, and his only saving grace around here at the moment is we've been trundling around behind the pace car for the majority of this race.
I wouldn't mind being a fly on the wall in his pit crew at the moment, looking at that fuel gauge.
Yeah, well, as we were saying the last caution, they've not only got to work out what they're burning under a green here, but they've got to also calculate what they're burning under yellow and then anticipate, a lot of big words in there, anticipate how many more yellows they're going to get. We've got 9 laps remaining. Based on that, we're going to get at least one more yellow, and if we do, I think we're going to be under yellow at the finish.
Yeah, unfortunately it's looking that way. It looks like Norman Clark, who qualified in 16th place, he's had to call it a night.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. He's been in the wars all night, but Jake Blackhall, biggest mover here, up 27 positions in 7th, and he's done a stellar job considering how many green laps he's had to make those positions up in.
It is, and you look back down the field, you've got car 77, Darren O'Brien, 23rd to 13th. James Foster, 14th to 14th. Liam Tipping, 25th to 15th. So you can see, one of those guys, he's maintained his position throughout the race. The other two, they've been able to move quite up a few positions as well.
And I reckon with Jake and those guys, I reckon what's happening is when these incidents are occurring, they're staying out of trouble and they're jumping all the guys that are in the wall. But here we go, 8 laps remaining. Once again, Jason Martin floors it and takes the lead. But look at Josh Mickelmore, he's trying to get on the inside of Sandman here, almost touching him, and he backs out of it. And that backs up Matthew Clowett, and Thomas Hinds on the outside of him.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like halfway between turns 1 and 2.
Do we have our victim? You can see Rodney Morris, he wasn't involved again, was he? I think the 141 was involved again. Yeah, 3 wide back here. Oh my goodness, it's Bob King being turned around again. He went down and overlapped with the 444, and it looks like that's where it all unravelled. Yeah, and the 141 up into the wall heavily. He got involved with Bob King's spin.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's going to be an upset person, I think, Bernie. He's not had a good night at all.
Well, you can see the pit crew are going to work on that car desperately, 5 laps remaining. If that car's got a meatball, that's where it's going to sit, but you'd be thinking if that car is anywhere near drivable, you'd probably be pulling it out. But then again, for Bob King, he's down at 31st. The worst he can get is probably down to 32nd with 5 laps remaining.
Exactly. So he's better off going back out there, staying on those laps, not going down to the cars beneath him.
Yeah, but even if he stays in and that car doesn't come out, he's just going to drop 1 position, and that'll be Daniel Stevens is 3 laps behind him at the moment. 5 laps remaining, folks. I tell you what, bets are open. Who thinks we're going to finish under green tonight?
Well, you know, if we can get 2 laps out of them, it might be possible.
Yeah. But they're going to have to be able to get 2 laps out of them at the moment. We're getting, maybe 1?
Yeah. Well, like we said before, Bernie, they're going to be frustrated. They're going to be tired. We sort of expected a few more, didn't we?
Oh, yeah. When we come to Phoenix, we knew it was going to be a high caution event, that's for sure. I think we're up to about 14 yellows now.
Yes, correct, Bernie. We've got 14 on the count.
Yep, so that's a new record for us. But, you know, it is a tough track. It is a big field, and they're on US service, so all that does make it difficult for the guys. So we see,
exactly.
Yeah, Roger Clark now, he's going to be getting a wave by the looks of it, and I'm just trying to see where he is. He's in 29th, so he'll go back on the lead lap. Now I tell you what, at this point in time, all Jason has to do is continue doing what he's done all night. But the question is, if you're Sandman, what do? You've got to try and go early, don't you?
You do, and you know that if you go late or you miss it, you're going to have your mirrors full.
Exactly right. He's got Hinge right behind him, Nickelmore on the inside of him. So he's definitely going to have to go. As soon as Jason goes, he's got to go, but he's got to make sure that he doesn't pass him. That's the problem.
He's at the disadvantage that he's on the outside as well, which is going to make it a little bit tougher for him.
Yeah. So here we go, final restart of the night here, folks, and Jason Martin has led every lap. Jason Martin goes once again. Sandman on the outside. Oh, we've got cars already in the wall. 420 up into the wall heavily, and we'll see if that brings out the pace car once more. So far still, there we go. So that happened right on the start-finish line. That was Wayne Taylor. As we can see, he's in the wall hard and towed back to the pits.
Yeah, it looks like him and Shannon have come together there. Shannon Mason in car 55.
They're actually into each other on the start here, and just slow it down so I can get us see, they're already into each other.
Look, but I think Wayne has put his hand up to that one. Wayne Taylor in the 420 Tundra. No, is he in the Tundra? No, in the Toyota he is. I think he's put his hand up for it. That's good of him.
Yeah, he's basically on the restart. He's gone high behind Mackenzie there, and the 55 had nowhere to go except for the wall. And yeah, that was big hit. But one thing that the guys did, you can just see his frustration up into the wall again, calling it a night. One thing it did do though was they kept the cars off the line. And where's Jason Martin? There he is. Oh, this car's still running into each other back there. We're finished. Okay, so we're finished. That's what's going on. Is that right? We have finished.
Well, I've not got a checkered flag up, but the drivers are saying they're finished. I can see car 48's been turned or spun.
Yeah, they're all spinning each other there. They finished under yellow, and the win goes to Jason Martin. You can just see the frustration on the guys. As soon as the race is over, they're all into each other, into the walls, absolutely frustrated.
Yeah, but look, what they've got to remember, Bernie, is, okay, we've had 16 cautions tonight, yeah?
Yep.
Half of that, 8. So we've done 76 laps, with potentially half of those cautions being netcode incidents.
That's right, because we're on the US servers, because the Aussie servers weren't coming up.
Exactly. So, again, you know, it is a two-sided coin. They knew they were on a US server. They should have been giving some more room. But look, we've got to let them have it. We saw a couple of incidents there that it was not a driver error.
No, we did. We saw quite a few where there was a good foot between the guys when they got turned around. And the thing is, at Phoenix, you got to race close. That is the style of this circuit, isn't it? And the problem is, as soon as they got close, that net code was coming into play.
Exactly. Look, now, they weren't innocent. There were a few suspect, overzealous moves, we'll say. But overall, the driving was pretty good from my point of view tonight.
Yeah, well, you're going to be doing the grill tonight, aren't you? So we've got a few down there in the green room. And, of course, there is one person grinning from ear to ear tonight, and that would be Jason Martin. I'm sure he's going to be frustrated as well for not getting a hard race, but he pretty much led every lap of this race, and it was due to the fact that there were so many cautions. The other thing is, all these guys that didn't pit, they did it on one tank of fuel and one set of tyres.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of new records being here, folks. So who are we going to bring up first?
We've got to speak to Jason. He won the race. Let's have a word with him.
So I'm going to let you take the reins on this, and I'll jump in after.
No worries. G'day, Jason. Well done. You with us, Jason?
Yep, I can hear you.
Congratulations, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate, but it wasn't a very good race at all. Probably the worst one I've ever been in.
Okay. What was it about tonight's race? How was tonight not one of the best races you've been in?
Mate, we had a yellow probably every 2 to 3 laps. That's about it. Got no green flag racing at all. Absolutely terrible.
Yep. What do you reckon the cause was?
Yeah, I can't.
Yeah, I'll just ask a couple of questions, Jason, then we'll let you go, if you can hear me. Basically, how hard was it out there with your fuel, trying to work out if you could make it home without stopping and trying to calculate anticipated yellows to green flag racing?
Yeah, I think I told Sandman on about lap 15 or 20 that I wasn't going to pit at all and I was just going to stay out all race. So I knew pretty early that I could make it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was getting that way, wasn't it? We were sort of looking at it and saying all you had to do was pretty much do what you've been doing all night, stay in front and do the starts. But on the bright side, you did get a lot of restart practice, so that's good.
Yeah, sure did. Yeah. I think every restart I tried something a tiny little bit different just so I could keep the lead. And then after that, I'd save a little bit of tyres.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to hand you back to Danny. Sorry, Danny, for jumping in there. I just, I got greedy. I wanted that microphone.
That's all right, Bernie. So, you there, Jason?
Yep.
How do you think people drove tonight?
Sorry, mate, I'm having a bit of trouble hearing you.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
Driving standards. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I couldn't see what was going on from where I was, but my guess is everyone was just driving it too hard to try and make as many spots as possible.
You were on a US server. Do you think that had any factors?
Yeah, probably not.
So you put it all down to just bad driving?
Danny.
Yep, just over aggressive, not enough practice, and just poor racecraft.
Did it play into your favour at all? Do you think without the yellows, Sandman may have been able to get you though?
I got no idea, but I was just trying to save tyres for about the first 50 laps, so I think I should have been okay because I'm pretty good here normally.
Oh, well done again, man.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
You got anyone you want to give a shout out to, and we'll let you get out of the barbecue, as we call it. This is Danny's barbecue, and you're the guest.
Just got to thank Michael Korolev for the paint, and congrats to Jake Blackhall on the championship.
Yeah, Jake did an awesome job. We'll speak to him soon, but he was a massive mover, and 27 positions he made up by the end of tonight.
Yeah, he did well to do that. It can be pretty tricky to pass here.
Yeah, I reckon. We're going to find out soon exactly how he did it, though. But anyway, any shout-outs tonight?
No, that's it. Thanks.
No worries. All right, Jason. Thanks, mate.
Cheers. See yous.
I don't think he enjoyed himself, Tony.
When I said let's have a barbecue, I didn't mean, I said let's have a barbecue with the drivers. We're at Phoenix. It's hot. They're going to love it. I didn't mean barbecue the drivers, all right?
Well, look, this is what we're going to find tonight, I think. You've got him. He stayed at the front of the field. He had no idea really what was going on around him. There was so much netcode, but according to him, it was just all driver standards.
Okay. Well, we'll continue on, but what happens when they just drop the mic and walk out? I thought Jason was about to do that.
Nah, he's all right. They'll get used to it.
Okay. All right. No worries. Let's bring up the next person, the next guest to our barbecue. Who is it?
Your call, Mr. Director.
Let's bring up Sandman. He's always good for a laugh, and I'll just tell him, I'll start. I'm good commentator, you're bad commentator.
It's planned. Does he know what he's in for?
No, probably not. But I'm going to tell him because, he might get all upset with you.
That's okay. I'm a big boy. I've got my big boy pants on today, Bernie.
Good. Let's bring up Stephen Sandman Clark. Hi, Stephen Sandman Clark. Welcome back to the Combox, mate. Second position tonight. It looked like there wasn't much of an opportunity for you to get that first position.
No, you're not wrong. Unfortunately, I think just the way tonight panned out, I barely think there was enough green laps there to get any temperature in the tyres, to be honest. But, yeah, look, it was just one of those things. I haven't seen what happened. Obviously, it all happened behind us. But, yeah, it was just basically Jason and I were having the restart game, and he was fairly good off the restarts. But, unfortunately, yeah, there just wasn't enough laps there to actually race each other as such.
Yeah, and we're looking at those restarts, and you're in a bit of a tricky position because he was going as his prerogative early, but the thing is you had to wait to react to him, and on top of that you're on the outside, so it makes for a bit of a tricky night. But you did get a lot of restart practice, so you should be dreaming about restarts in your sleep tonight.
I'd like to see less of them, that's for sure. But yeah, look, that's just the way it is when you're on the outside there. You can't jump the leader to the start finish line. If you do that, you find yourself having to tour a pit lane, and that's never fun under green. So, but that, look, like we said, and exactly what you said too, it's Jason's prerogative. He's the leader, and he's entitled to start the way he does and when he does. So that's just a part of our sport. But yeah, it was just a shame that we didn't get enough green flag laps. But at the end of the day, I don't have to worry about the Goodyear tyre bill now.
Yeah, exactly right. Or the fuel bill. And we're talking about the fuel. We were calculating at the 60 lap mark. It was 48 laps about under yellow, 16 under green. How hard was it for you, and if you had a pit manager, to try to calculate if you could get to the end?
I think pretty early on. It's funny. I don't know if you've spoken to Jason yet, but Jason and I were actually talking a bit of strategy the way that race was unfolding, and he actually hinted early on that he probably wasn't going to pit. And I said to myself, "Oh, geez, that's brave." But then I thought, well, look, at the end of the day, we're not really going to use up tyres the way it was turning out. So from pretty early on, I started clutching it and saving fuel, from the start. So I was fairly confident, and just unfortunately, as more yellows came out, I knew we were pretty safe as far as making it on fuel to go the whole race. So it's a shame that that's the way it played out, but look, that's racing.
Yeah, that's right. And I guess he's in the difficult position because basically he's going to decide if he has to pit, and then you guys are going to decide whether you need to react or not. And I think it would have been the first person to pit would have been the loser tonight, because they wouldn't have had much of an opportunity to get back through that field.
Well, that's exactly right. Jason and I were talking, and we were thinking to ourselves, even if these guys are on 100-lap-old tyres, if you got fresh tyres, it's just that green flag run to utilise the fresh rubber just wasn't there tonight. So the smart thing for everyone was pretty much, stay out, and that's the way it was. So it wasn't the most exciting of races, but at the end of the day, it is a good championship. There's some exciting things to come out of this series for next year. I know there's a lot of plans happening and a lot of things happening on the back burner, which will make this championship really exciting. So don't let tonight bring anyone down who was watching tonight. This is going to be a ripper next year.
It certainly is. They've got very big plans for next year, that's for sure. Now, Sandman, I need to warn you here. I said to Danny before we started, it's a really hot day here at Phoenix. The drivers are going to work up a sweat, and we should put on a barbecue for them. So basically, you've probably turned up thinking you're going to get a steak and a beer. Well, here's your beer. But Danny's got a different idea on barbecuing, and you're going to find out what I mean in a moment. I'm the good commentator. He's playing bad commentator tonight.
Ah, love it.
Over to you, Danny. And I'm just going to step aside now, and you've got the floor.
Oh, look, you're making it sound like I'm absolutely horrible, Bernie.
No, not at all, mate. Not at all.
G'day, mate. Well done on second tonight.
Thanks, bud.
Okay.
It's Here like a first date.
You said that you were talking while the race was happening with Jason, so you knew what was going on. Do you think without that you'd have finished second?
Look, I ummed and ahed about whether we would actually make a pit stop, because we weren't sure about how the race was going to unfold. When it got to about halfway, I did actually honestly think about making a pit stop, but when we had a serious think about it, we knew that we just weren't getting the green flag runs to utilise the fresh rubber. So regardless of if everyone stayed out, and I was on brand new tyres, and if everyone was on 30 or 40 lap tyres, technically it'd be a 30, 40 lap tyres, but they've only maybe done 10 or 15 laps of racing. So there wasn't the advantage of fresh rubber. So as that race went on, for sure I wasn't going to pit.
Right, but was he calling out when he was going to go? Or was he leaving that to guesswork?
No, he was. The only communication we had was just under the pacing laps, where we were just we were both a little bit frustrated by some of the yellow flags, and we started, sussing each other as far as strategy. So, and Jason and I have always had a pretty good relationship. We've raced each other a lot in the past, and I've been fairly open as far as what I'm going to do during a race, and I think he's pretty much the same. And of course, he's entitled to keep his cards to his chest. But no, when it came to green flags, he was on his own, and he nailed them every time.
He was good, wasn't he?
Yep, and that's part of being a leader. You get to utilise jumping when you want, and taking that start. So I just had to be careful not to jump the start and take a tour of the pit lane.
Now, Josh Micklemore, did he harass you much? His fastest lap was lap 50. Yours was 42. That's sort of showing that in the latter part of the race, he had a little bit of pace over you.
Yeah, I guess my racing, as far as I always take a little bit of time to get into a bit of a rhythm, and I think looking back, I know we're talking about a completely different series, but when you talk about V8 Scops, like, I'm a terrible qualifier, because normally qualifying comes down to a 1 or 2 lap shootout. So I find myself probably I need to have a bit of a run before I sort of start to get my good lap. So those lack of green flag laps probably hurt me as far as trying to put down a decent time. So, and I know he was quick on restarts. There was a time there I think where he was going to stick his nose underneath me there at one stage. So I think he had the pace there, but I probably needed a little bit more of a greener run.
So driver standards, what's your thoughts?
Oh, look, to be honest, I think the only driver I could comment on tonight was our winner, Jason, because that's pretty much who I saw. Unfortunately, a lot of the incidents happened behind us, so it's hard, and it's not very fair on the rest of the group to comment on all the cautions. Obviously everyone gets a bit of the red mist when the green flag drops, but at the end of the day too, we had a tough situation where we were based on a US server. There were some dramas with the Aussie servers, so there's a little bit of netcode involved, but like I said, I haven't seen any of the replays, but I'm pretty sure not all of those incidents were had anything to do with netcode. So without throwing anyone under the bus, it wouldn't be fair without seeing any of those replays.
Well, your race winner was quite happy to. He said that driver standards tonight, that was the cause of it all.
Yeah, look, I guess you guys can probably quote. You guys have got a better view on that than I have. You've seen everything tonight. Jason's probably got the luxury of he's a regular in this series. This is probably only my second or third race in the championship. So there's a lot of names that I can go up and down through this list, and I don't actually know who they are at all. But it's just unfortunate. But I won't throw anyone under the bus. I was waiting for Jason to throw me under the bus there for a second.
No, he said you raced quite good with him.
Yeah, we've had some great races in the past, and I look forward to many more with him.
Is there anything you want to say? Anyone you want to thank tonight?
Well, I won't give up an opportunity to thank for my good friends at Hybrid Race Simulations. They've been very big supporters of my racing ever since I joined iracing. So a big shout out to them and everyone at Trans-Tasman Racing, and and you guys for putting on a great show and a broadcast. It would have been fairly tough with all these caution laps, but thank you boys for what you do in the commentary box. I know exactly what that's all about. So that effort shouldn't go unlooked. So well done, boys.
No worries, mate. But I'm afraid I'm going to have to start calling you something other than Sandman now.
Oh, here we go. This is where the sizzle starts, is it?
I think we're going to have to start calling you the Diplomat.
I'm thinking, Sandman, when you go, can you take me with you, please?
Safety in numbers, eh?
Oh, I just want to get out of here, man. All right. Thanks so much for popping in, Stephen, and well done on your second spot tonight. Good effort, good drive, and you stayed out of trouble, so that's excellent.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for the chat. Talk to you soon.
See ya.
Okay. Oh, boy, I'm working up a sweat here. So the next person we have to come in, I think, would be Thomas Hinds. Is that right?
Thomas Hinds, where did he finish?
I've got him down as third here, but
That's right.
Would it be third?
He results... Thomas Hinds? No, I've got him... Let me make sure I'm looking at the right section here.
Yeah, we'll bring him up.
Well, I've got him in fourth.
Fourth, okay. Yeah, my telemetry's all over the place because they stopped under yellow here. But let's bring up the next person, and we'll try and speed these interviews up, folks, so we don't spend all night under interviews like we did under yellow tonight. And we'll have a quick chat with Thomas. And then, Danny, you can grill him a steak, and we'll move on.
Okie dokie.
Hi Thomas, welcome to the RRTV Combox, mate, and welcome to our barbecue here tonight at Phoenix. Basically, finishing fourth tonight. Looks like you moved up 4 positions, so not too bad considering the amount of yellows we had tonight. So tell us a little bit about your race.
Yeah, thanks. Well, started 12th in quali. That wasn't perfect. Just didn't quite put it together properly, but it's good enough. Got me just into towards around the top 10. That's generally the aim. If you can get in towards the top 10, you're generally clear of what can be some of the messy stuff further down. It was up in a decent spot to start, and just kept doing. It's kind of like what I did at Chicagoland, did the same sort of thing. Just every little bit of green flag, I would just sort of gain a position or two and just chip away, get a good run on off the restart, and then just make a move or two here and there. And then just as each one went on, just kept gaining spots, and then sort of stabilised around sort of 5th, 6th thereabouts for a while. And me and Dave, as hopefully, because it was really awesome fun between the two of us. Probably saw us in the broadcast a bit going side by side a lot in the green flag runs. It's basically, I reckon about 95% of the green flag runs we were side by side pretty much. It was really, really awesome stuff. So as I already said to Dave personally, but again, massive kudos to Dave. That was awesome fun. Every restart we seemed to be, he'd get the jump and get me, then I'd get the jump and get him, and we kept Eoring between each other, which was fantastic. But yeah, just kept going along, and then I got I think the second or third last restart, got a real nice jump and managed to jump my teammate Matt. We got a bit balked off the restart, so I jumped up to fourth, and then just held that to the end, and got another good result. So yeah, I'm happy. Once again, I'm always usually top 10 as usual as the minimum. If I can get a top 5, I'm usually pretty ecstatic with that. So yeah, to get the fourth, I'm really happy, especially starting just outside the 10, just chipping away, keeping it clean. Really happy to get that result, especially here at Phoenix, which, as we saw tonight, can be a track that can cause a few issues for bigger fields like this.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to hand you over to Danny, and one of the viewers come up with something here, Danny, and this might set the scene for Thomas. If Sandman's called the diplomat, they're saying you're now called the disciplinarian. How's that sound?
Thomas knows what he's in for. We've spoken before.
Yeah. I'm sort of prepared.
Okay. While you're doing that, I'm going to have a pit stop. So good luck. See ya. I'm out of here. Bye.
See you, buddy.
Well done, Thomas. Moved a few posies tonight.
Thank you.
But look, Bernie's touched all that. You've told us how your race went. We told us what happened. Done. Driver standards.
I think I was 8th coming in, so I'm guessing I've probably maybe jumped 1 or 2, because I know from about 4th or 5th down to basically, I think about 11th or even more, we're all within about 20 points of each other, so it's really close. I'm not actually sure where I'd be, but I'm hoping I've jumped up maybe a spot or 2, hopefully, fingers crossed. I wasn't expecting, I'm still only doing this for fun, this series. I just sort of started doing it because
Thomas, I could interrupt you, sorry.
Oh, no worries.
I didn't say standings, I said standards.
Standards, wow. Sorry, Daniel. My ears are shot, apparently. I can't hear things. Standards, yes. Standards, well, it's kind of hard for me to say, really, because I was up where we were, up with me and Dave and all of us at the top end of the field. It was awesome. We were all having some great fun when there was green flag runs. Really close but fair. I don't think I had a single contact that race, which is awesome. So it's kind of hard for me to really say how it was back there, because I didn't see a lot of the incidents. But I know we're on a US server. I know there's latency involved. I know a few of them would have been latency caused, but it just, hopefully it can improve for the last round at Miami, because it was pretty bad that we only had, I think the best green flag run we had was probably 5 or 6 laps, I think, was our best green flag run, and that says enough, really. You don't even have to really look at the instance to know that if that's the best green flag run you've got in this kind of race, then an improvement needs to happen, because that's really just not good enough, really. So
all driver standards.
Pretty much. Yeah, just I think they just need to grow up a bit. Hopefully, hopefully Miami. I know again Phoenix is a bit of a difficult one for keeping it clean in that, and just the way the track works, all the different lines, and how it's a little bit different to most. It can be especially bad for this kind of thing, kind of amplify it. So hopefully for Miami. Next week it'll be a bit better, because you can do multiple lines there. It's, I think, a bit of an easier track, obviously very heavy banking in the corners, so hopefully we can have a bit better of a time next week to round off the season. But yeah, hopefully it'll improve. But I know that the guys here at ANZCAR, they do an awesome job as usual, and they've got a lot of plans for next season to give us hopefully a bit of a better standard than we've had the last couple of races, and produce some awesome racing again. So hopefully that can happen. We can not have 75 laps of pacing essentially, like we had tonight.
No worries. Well, congratulations on where you finished, mate.
Yep, thank you very much.
So we'll give you the opportunity to thank anyone.
Yeah, indeed. Again, apologies. I still can't believe I misheard standards and standings. My hearing is shot already, which is terrible at 22. But anyway, big thank you, of course, to Waxit, our main guys who've jumped on recently. Big thank you to them for jumping aboard with the team, as always. Got some awesome liveries that have been made up. Again, big thanks to JP, one of our guys who drives for us as well, and also does a lot of our liveries. He does an awesome job. And a big thanks to him for doing this truck for me. Just asked him if he could do a Waxit one for me. He did it for me pretty quickly and very nicely as well. So big thanks to JP for that. And always, obviously, GTI, Race Centre, and Carney, as usual. Big thanks to them for their support that they've given us for a long time now. So big thanks to them. And a big thanks as well to ANZCAR, to Edward and all the guys here. I know they do a really good job at trying to run the best series they can, and I think they do very well at that. So big thanks to them, to work they do, and thanks to you guys, as always, for the awesome broadcasts you do. And I hope that you guys at least had some kind of fun, even though it was a lot of pacing tonight. So, yeah.
Fantastic. And before you go, Thomas, we're talking about the celebration PFR and Waxit were doing in that competition. Is that still running, or is that now closed?
I believe it's still running. That is really bad, Bernie, because I should know these things. But I'm pretty sure it is still running. I think it goes till sort of late November, I'm fairly sure. So I think it is still got about a week or so on it. So yeah, if you haven't done, definitely get on that, because it's an awesome prize that they're offering there. And as you pointed out last week, Bernie, I know I can't get it now, so annoyingly, because my floor could use some polish, but that's okay. I can do it in my own hand.
Yeah. So folks, go over to Facebook, Proforce Racing Facebook page, and there's a post up there about the competition. Have a read of that, and it'll tell you how you can enter this competition. You win $200, from what I understand, of Waxit e-vouchers.
Yeah, keep your car nice and polished and spick and span, which I'm sure would be an awesome thing to have this summer, so you can really show it off to the public.
Fantastic. Well, Thomas, we invited you to a barbecue, so here's your sausage sandwich, here's your beer.
Thank you.
Thanks
very much
for coming in. You can go now.
Thank you, Bernie. I'll see you guys next time. And again, awesome stuff in the broadcast. See ya.
See ya.
Okay.
So,
how'd you go there?
Well, we've got a 2-1 score now. We've had both Jason and Thomas say it's driver standards, whereas we had the diplomat saying he thinks some of it was netcode, and he's not saying until he looks at the replay.
Okay, so let's bring up Mr. Jake Blackhall, biggest mover tonight, and let's find out what he has to say about it. As always, I'll soothe him into a false sense of security, and then you can whack him. All right? Is that how it works?
It does, and I've got a good one for Jake tonight.
Oh God, here we go. Okay, well, let's get through these quicker, because we'll be here all night if we don't. Hi Jake, welcome to the RRTV Combox, mate. Congratulations, you're the biggest mover of the race tonight, up 27 positions. We've got you in as 6th. Could be wrong because my telemetry is playing up. But tell us a little bit about how you made so many positions up when we had so few green flag running.
Yeah, I don't know. It was 7th, to be fair, Bernie, and it was I don't know. To be fair, the truck was very push loose. So in layman terms, that's actually tight. So through the middle of the quarter and coming off, the truck's actually wanting to push out the racetrack, and then it will go loose. So that's what I had. I had a lot of push loose off the corners, and I think a lot of people were struggling with that. So I tried to actually diamond off the corners and make up spots that way. So just on the restarts, being patient, watching people run very tight through the middle, and then just ducking underneath them on the exit. And I think that's, even with the limited laps, you just sort of pick them off every little restart, trying to see and stay out of trouble. Obviously, there was a couple of 1 or 2 wrecks in front of me that I was able to get around, where I gained maybe 3 or 4 spots, but the rest of it was just trying to be patient with everyone around the racetrack. But it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, we were actually riding with you on one of the restarts, and we could see on that restart you were being assertive, but you weren't being reckless, I guess it would be the word, and you're being very patient. At one point on the restart, you were having a look on another car to make a move, but then you had a car on the inside, and you went high. But good driving, mate. 26 positions you got up, because you finished in 7th. I'm going to hand you over to Danny now. He's called a disciplinarian, and I'm not sure if the other drivers have told you what he's like tonight, but Yes, it's one of the Denny classic barbecues tonight.
Hey Jake, how you going?
Oh, good yourself.
I'm good. I had a nice night, nice relaxed. Yourself?
Interesting one. Let's be fair. It was very interesting, especially from the back.
Okay, driver standards. How were they tonight then?
From what I could see, they weren't all flash. There was a couple of incidents that I think maybe could have avoided. I don't know who they were or whatnot, but a couple of incidents could have been avoided. But a lot of the time, there was a lot of net code. And to be fair, I know myself, I came in an incident with, I think it was Shannon 55 coming off of turn number 4. We actually got into each other, had a later look, and there was another car length between us, but some of it didn't look as great.
Well, of that, you received 10 incident points tonight.
Yeah, I know. It's a interesting one, isn't it? I actually got a 0x from another car, then I got a 4x from no one when I was nowhere near anyone, and then another one with Shannon, and then a 2x from I don't know where.
So, you think it was a mix of server issue and driving standards then?
Definitely, I know part of it was driving standards. Having a look at some of it back, there was a little bit of that. And then netcode, obviously, I got 10 incidents, and I know 4 of them I actually looked like I hit someone, but then it was netcode, having a look back anyway. And we both actually agreed on that anyway. We had a look, and Daniel actually looked at it during the server and said there was massive netcode. So, and the other 4 didn't even adjust anyone, and technically when you look at it, you don't actually hit anyone, but because they've come up or blocked the line or whatever, it actually counts as an incident. So it was definitely interesting at that point, but there were definitely some driving standards issues out there.
Well done anyway, mate. You did well tonight. It's looking like the championship is pretty much yours.
Yeah, actually, I had to get within 7 spots of Jason and to sort of make it count tonight, and that was it. Did that, so I'm actually wrapped to do that. Unfortunately, it's not the way I wanted to do it today here in Phoenix, with the way I would rather have raced for it tonight and not have obviously so many yellows. But it's done and dusted, and can sort of even out the playing field. If I don't race next week, I'll still win by 1 point if Jason wins, which sort of evens out from my sport. So yeah, it's good to get it done, and can maybe even just join Bernie in the comms booth for the whole race while I'm in the car.
Awesome. I'm going to hold you to that.
I'm down for that. We can do it next week at Homestead, and I'll sit in the comms booth. I'll mute during I'm racing, obviously, unless you want to. I'm happy to go actually because I've won the title. So we'll talk as we're racing. We'll have a good crack at that one.
Sounds like a plan to me. And have you finished with your barbecue yet, Danny?
Yes, no, I'm all good.
You behaved yourself tonight. This time. Yeah, basically Danny's been barbecuing all the drivers to get their opinions, but before we let you go though, there's 2 questions. One is your sponsors, and I've got a list here that I'll tick off as you go through them.
Yeah, massive list. Obviously, shout out to Evolution Racing Team for all their support, Logitech G, Joel World Timing, GTI, and Asher Racing for all their support that they've given me this year.
Fantastic. Final question for you. You've got a choice here between sausage sandwich, steak sandwich, or you can have one of those really pathetic vegetarian risoli things that no one's touching.
Nah. Definitely sausage sandwich.
All right, no worries. So you take this. You want a beer or a Coke?
Oh, definitely a beer, mate. What are you talking about?
Oh, I wasn't sure how old you were, so...
Don't worry, I'm overage. It's all good.
No worries, buddy. Well, thanks for popping in. Congratulations on taking out the championship. Awesome drive tonight. It was a really good drive to get through that field so quickly when we had so little green flags. So, yeah, congratulations.
Thank you once again, and can't wait to watch the broadcast back. Cheers, guys, even though it was caution. Maybe a little bit boring, but still... Awesome job again, guys.
Oh, we were talking. It can't be that boring. All right, see you, buddy.
See you, mate.
Okay, well, I've left the best to last, Danny, and that is Edward Foster will be the next person to come up, and I'm sure you'll be very keen to have a chat with Edward.
Well, Edward, he finished, a little bit further down the field. He's going to have a better understanding of what was happening back there.
Yeah, he also moved up. He moved up. I've got him up about 7 positions from where he started. So, and of course, he was in the RRTV truck tonight, as always for this season. So, yeah, I'll bring him up. You can start the interview, or would you prefer me to start it?
I'll get stuck into him, and then you can coddle him.
Oh, maybe I'll coddle him first, because he won't want to talk to me after you've finished with him.
I'll be nice.
Oh. Hi Edward, welcome to the RRTV Combox, mate. You'll start with me on the interview, and then I'm going to hand you over to the disciplinarian. But yeah, tell us a little bit about your race tonight. We've got you here 9th and up 7 positions.
Was it 9th, was it? Did it go that well?
Well, I don't know. I've got you down as 9th, but then again, my telemetry's all over the place because of the yellow flag finish.
Okay, right. Yeah, look, yeah, I wasn't really looking at the position, to be honest. I was generally just looking at the fuel load and that kind of thing, because I knew with the having to run the American server tonight because of the crash with the Australian servers, I knew we were going to get a lot of netcode and potentially a lot of wrecks, as it turned out. So I was definitely looking at perhaps pulling a bit of a tricky one and not pitting, but in the end that just became easy, so which is what most people did. So didn't really give us the opportunity to do too much. There wasn't too much of a chance to move forward, because I was just kind of relying on people dropping out in front of me, because we really didn't get enough green flag runs to do any actual fighting for position, which was a bit of a shame. Yeah,
it was a little bit of a shame, but I think when we're looking at coming to Phoenix with a massive field that we had on a hot day on an American server, I think it's going to be the way it was going to play out today. But hats off to the administrators of this great series, because I know you guys were working really hard behind the scenes trying to get a server up at all, so we could run this race tonight.
Yeah, it was a little bit touch and go, a little bit frantic there for a while, but yeah, managed to get it happening in the end. I think that there were probably a few inevitable netcode contacts there, but there's also a little bit that needs tidying up on the driving standard side as well, certainly from what I've seen. So we're nearly at the end of this season now, and just while I'm at it, I should probably congratulate Jake Blackhall on the championship, because it's absolutely well done and well deserved. But coming next season, we've got some further developments. ANZCAR is going to expand even further, and we're going to also have various things in place to help control the quality of the racing a bit better. So hopefully we'll see less of the races that we've seen tonight, and probably a bit more of the great stuff that we had a little bit earlier on in the season.
Yeah, fantastic. And looking at next year, we'll just go over that very quickly. I know where you guys are going to be running the summer series, which will be starting in a few weeks' time. Did you want to tell the viewers a little bit about that series and how they can get involved in it and what it's all about?
Yeah, well, the summer series is basically just something to have on while it's summer, and people are generally, that we've got the holiday period coming up. We don't want to try and make people commit to a full season when they've got the holiday season on and be wanting to spend time with their families and so on. So we just put together a collection of races which we think might be interesting. They start off with some of the slower cars in terms of speed. We're doing a bit of street stocks on dirt, and then that's working all the way up to a race at Talladega in unrestricted cup cars. So it's just going to be a bit of a mixed bag, a bit of fun for anybody who wants to show up and get involved. And I think that it's just going to provide a bit of practice. It's also going to give us as administrators a chance to try some new formats, try some new things, just things that we wouldn't particularly want to try out during a proper official season.
Yeah, fantastic. And of course, you've got a very big season coming up next year as well, and starting off with, I think, Daytona. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We're running a season for the top-level cup cars. It's going to be an open setup series, and it's going to run all year long with one race a month. It's going to start off, of course, with the headline race, the Daytona 500, and then after that, we're going to be running probably what we pick out of that month's real life races as being the one that we'd want to run, and running one of those races a month in a year-long series, and it's going to be the best of the best drivers are going to be in that one, open setups and everything. So absolutely top level stuff, we're hoping.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be awesome, and that kicks off, I think, around about February next year. So if anyone's interested in that, how do they find you guys on iRacing?
Well, they can either come to the AusNZ section of the forums and get in touch with us via the Oval Racing thread there, or that they can also potentially come and find us on Facebook under ANZCAR. So we always answer any questions. We do get quite a few queries about the various bits and pieces that we run. So always very keen to engage with people via that as well.
Fantastic. Now, I need to warn you, at the start of the night, we knew you guys were going to have a rough night, and I said to Danny, let's put on a bit of a barbecue. Now, you're going to realise fairly quickly, Danny's idea of a barbecue and mine are a little bit different. So he's been nicknamed the disciplinarian, and I'll hand you over to him, Edward. But while he's doing that, I'll make you a sausage sandwich and get you a beer if you want.
Excellent, mate. Crack me a tenny. As soon as I'm finished lashing Danny, I'll be right back with you.
Awesome.
How's your race, Edward? Sorry. Hello. How are you?
Very well, thank you. So is that the first tough disciplinarian question? How's my race?
Yeah, I want to know. How was it? You drove around a lot of cars tonight. You called them all bad. How?
Well, no, I drove around a lot of cars. Some were we didn't do too much high speed driving. I didn't see a great many of the incidents. A few happened in front of me. Most happened sort of behind or a little bit too far up the field for me to really see too much of what went on. So I was more relying on Danny G, who was actually out of the race at that point. He had connection issues, and he was sort of advising what was going on elsewhere in the pack. So it's probably, as I mentioned earlier on, there was a little bit of netcode getting involved, but there was also probably a little bit of silly driving that was to blame for a lot of it as well.
So, are there going to be any penalties tonight from this?
Well, we've got two rules in ANZCAR. The first is no deliberate wrecking. And the second one is that there's not to be any consistently careless bringing out of cautions and things like that, consistently careless driving. And what it needs to be to qualify for that is it needs to be somebody consistently causing cautions over the period of either in the single race or over multiple races, always being the one to be causing cautions. So not having had the chance to go back and overlook the incidents in detail that have happened tonight, I can't say whether or not there are going to be any penalties, but it's something that we do look at after every single race. There's obviously plenty for us to go through after this one, and we've got a list of people, I suppose, that we've sort of who are, I'd say, on a warning at the moment. So if any of them were involved, there could potentially be some penalties handed out, but we need to go back and look at it first.
So no one in your mind already?
No one that I'm willing to comment on.
Fair enough. Now, last week there was an incident. I believe some drivers were spoke to. Our viewers saw that incident. What's your comments on that?
I believe you're probably talking about the incident between Stratford and Micklemore. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, so basically with that one, normally deliberate wrecking carries a one-race ban, as I mentioned. So looking at that one, there are a number of things to take into account, and that was that essentially we had Stratford, who made a couple of attempts to actually take Micklemore out prior to that taking place. And after looking at it and looking at it a few times, we found that if Josh had not wrecked Stratford like he did, then there was going to be an incident between the two of them anyway, because of the way in which Stratford was swerving towards him, pushing him up the track and all the rest of it. So we deemed that in that case the responsibility for the incident was shared. We've warned them both. we only really hand out a ban or a penalty if one person is pretty much entirely to blame for the incident. And given the fact that in that case we believe that, all things considered, the responsibility between them was shared, we had the option to ban them both for a race, or we had the option to give them both a warning, say, stop it, guys, and carry on. And obviously we'd always rather see cars on the track than not, so that's what we chose to do. We chose to give them both a caution and basically not allow it to happen again, with the proviso that if it did happen again, predominantly on one half or the other, or if they both touched again in such a similar scenario, that they both be missing a race.
But thanks for that. That just, that lets our viewers know exactly your view on those sorts of incidents, because look, they witnessed it, they saw it, they want to hear.
Absolutely, yeah. We did put a explanation of that just up on the Facebook page as well. I understand that not everybody who's watching will have seen that, but we do put any stewarding updates on there as well. So there was quite a lot of discussion that went into that one, and so that's the solution we came up with.
No worries, mate. Look, I think I've had my fun with you. I'll hand you back to Bernie, and well done on the race.
Thank you.
Yeah, fantastic, Edward. One of the viewers, they were wanting me to ask you about the whole netcode issue. They were just saying that they watched a few of the races previously where there was a lot of incidents that didn't appear to be netcode. Can you tell the viewers quickly about, the sort of things you were talking about earlier of putting in place? Are you allowed to talk about that yet, or should we just leave that until the administrators have come up with a plan to deal with a lot of yellow conditions?
Okay, well there are some things that have been decided, and there's a lot that hasn't. So in terms of what has been decided, we are going to reduce the size of the field next season, and the way that we're going to do that is we're going to run, most likely we're going to run 2 splits. The top split will be the one that you'll see broadcast on RRTV, and that will generally have the best drivers involved in that series, and then the ones which were sort of up and coming, a bit new to it, and just sort of still refining their skills, they'll be racing in that second split until such time as they've managed to prove that they are ready to move up to the top one. Exactly how that sort of promotion is going to look, and exactly how the structure of the whole thing is going to look, is still very much up for discussion, something that we're working through at the moment. We've made a fair degree of headway even in the last few days about exactly what that's going to look like in terms of format, but I think we're going to come out with something next year which is very another step up again, I suppose, from what we've seen here, and the racing should clean up a fair bit. We've got this unique problem with the oval racing where every time there's an incident, it's not like the road racing where the race goes on. Every time there's an incident, it puts the entire race under caution. So while a caution every now and again can be exciting and so on, it's not something that you want to have like tonight, where you're running almost the entire race under caution. It's good for no one. So that's basically the way we're leaning at the moment, is towards this 2 split idea, and exactly what the specifics of that are going to look like. Watch this space.
No worries, fantastic. Well, thanks for answering all our questions and the ones from the viewers there. We appreciate the openness that you guys bring to the series, and letting everyone know what's going on out there. But anyway, Edward, we've got one more round to go, and that's at Homestead next week. What sort of racing do you think we're going to see there for that style of track?
Well, I hope to say that it would be somewhat better than tonight. We're going to be, I'd say that kind of race will probably see a couple of caution periods for absolute certain, because it can get quite close. You do get quite a lot of close racing there, but I would also expect that it will be cleaner than tonight was. And also we're going to not be running that race with the option of a fast repair either. So people are going to have to be very careful not to damage themselves, or they're going to be out of contention, and we're hoping that might just help people to scale back the aggression a little bit and keep that race the way we all want it to be.
Yeah, fantastic. And as you were saying, you know, the incidents we had tonight, we had a couple of big ones, but a lot of them were just, you know, cars spinning and stuff like that. And as you said, with oval racing, that does bring out a yellow straight away. So, yeah. But anyway, thanks for coming up and having a chat with us. It's been awesome. And what do you want? You wanted a steak sandwich or a sausage sandwich and a beer? Was that right?
All three, mate. Absolutely.
Here you go. You've earned them. So
Thank you, guys.
You can have one of these veggie bloody risoli things that Danny wanted me to cook as well, because they're crap.
No, you can put that down, mate.
Right, no worries. All right, see ya.
See you later.
Well, there you go. Danny, we got through those interviews without anyone swearing at you, so that's pretty good.
It is, and it's good to finish with Edward there, with, you know, being in the position he was in to see that sort of stuff. He really would have known what was happening.
Yeah, it's a good way to round it off as well by giving the viewers a bit of an idea of where the series is running as well, and what's planned for next year, because there are some pretty big things coming our way with the ANZCAR series and where they want to take it. So that's going to be very exciting for the Australian and international viewers that love their NASCAR action, that's for sure.
Absolutely. We can only look forward to it.
Definitely. And looking at the rest of the week here, folks, on RRTV, tomorrow night we've got the Australian Online Supercar Championship. It will be coming to you from Interlagos tomorrow night for the Interlagos 150 sprint race, and that's going to be extremely exciting once again. Last week we had about 58 V8 supercars, I think it was, take to the track around about, and we'll probably get the same amount tomorrow night. So if you want to end off your work week with some V8 supercar action, check out our YouTube page and you can see when that race is scheduled. And then we finish the week off on Sunday night with another round of the Australasian Super Skips, and that's going to be another exciting race of Skippy racing. But yeah, so that's your week of racing on RRTV. All right, Danny. Well, thanks, mate, for coming up here and joining me in the comm box. It's always a pleasure having you in here. And next week, I think we're going to have Ryan up here, but and you'll probably be on the track, won't you?
No, actually, it's the last round. I've only ever done the race for a bit of fun, sort of thing. So I think I'm going to sit that round out and just watch. I think let the guys who, you know, there's still that chase for the final position on the podium.
Well, that's exactly right. We've wrapped up the championship, but it's going to be interesting to see how these points shake out for next week on those minor places, because there's all to play for, isn't there, on the on 3rd down to 10th. So there's still a lot of drivers there that are going to be coming in to try to improve next week. Exactly. Well, if you're not racing, you can always come up in the comm box here and do some more grilling, because I like the way you cook those sandwiches. But anyway, folks, on that note, thanks for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed tonight's coverage of the ANZCAR Thursday Night Thunder, and it was one of those races that ended up under yellow, and that was unfortunate, but hopefully you still got a lot of fun watching the coverage. But until we see you again, on behalf of Danny Trim, I'm Bernie Weemers. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you again on RRTV very soon. Good night.